Ad Leakers. This is Luke. I am here with Jai Howitt. And he is, are you fresh from Australia right now? You're in Australia?
Yeah. Perth, West Australia.
Awesome. I know you have a lot of fans in our Ad Leaks group, and obviously a lot of fans who just follow you regardless. And so I just wanted to kind of get to know you a little bit better, have our audience know kind of what you do, who you are, where you came from, and I guess just how you can kind of help anyone out there who's looking to grow from the start, intermediate, and then some advanced people out there. I know you've been able to build a pretty awesome content business over there. I was really impressed with what I saw. And honestly, I'm impressed right now with the camera you have and the mic.
Oh man, I think I was saying to you before, I was waiting for some new gear to come in, and it literally arrived like yesterday, so it was just perfect timing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a never-ending thing for creatives. It's kind of can be a black hole is getting the right gear. Yeah, so kind of bird's eye view. Kind of tell us, I guess, who you are and give a little intro to the group so we can get to know you better.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being on here and hey to Ad Leaks. I've been in this group probably about a year and a half now, so soak you up as much as I can. So it's a pleasure to jump in and hopefully share some stuff as well. So I've sort of done a few things since my teens, but when I was about probably 16, 17, I got into the Instagram game, and I used to grow Instagram accounts for a bit for myself, just for fun, and that turned into doing it for other people. And I guess being in that space, it just led really naturally into the digital marketing, into the creative. So I sort of had a camera after high school, and I was just taking photos, making YouTube videos, and eventually went into sort of really freelancing with that. And you sort of got to a point, I had some pretty cool experiences. I lived in Bali for a couple of, probably 5 or 6 months in total, working with digital marketers over there, sort of like a Gary V, D-Rock style, running gun, filming for them. And then I just got to a point where I was like, I wanted to build something bigger, more than just me traveling and break even and being a broke creative as most are. And so I was like, I want to start an agency of some sort. And I did it probably for all the wrong reasons at the start. And I was like, I want to run Facebook ads and, I want to outsource the work, and I can just sit here and, and just travel and make all the money. And it didn't quite work like that. I did learn a hell of a lot about ads and how to run those, but I also had a lot of rejections. I probably had 40, 50 sales calls over the course of a year and didn't close one of them. Which is a bit of a hit to the old ego, but sort of, I guess I just knew there was something there. I knew there was a lot of potential, and so I just kept at it. And eventually, what happened is I had a little bit of success there, but I sort of took a step back and I was like, what do I really love doing? And that whole time I was still freelancing. I was, creating videos on the side to fuel my living costs, and so I took a step back and I was like, hold on, I need to combine these two. So essentially went all in on the creative for e-commerce brands, direct to consumer e-commerce brands. And that happened, I want to say towards the end of 2019. And then officially sort of the start of 2020. So not all that long ago, really. Yeah. So it was just me. I've got some classic photos of me sitting in the living room with 100 hard drives next to me and just running away.
Yeah.
And yeah, since then it's sort of grown to, we've got a team of 13 now, and a studio, and we're all in-house as well, based out here in Perth, and working with some really ambitious brands. So, having a lot of fun in the process as well, and really getting a lot out of helping these brands grow through their creative side, especially ones who are spending a lot on Facebook ads and Instagram as well.
Got it. And might I ask, how do you allocate the work? Like what are your employees doing? Are you doing, what percentage of it is actually producing? What percentage is ad spend and all that?
Yeah, so we don't run the ads at all. We just do the creative assets, and it's I mean, the editing side of things probably takes the most time, as most things. But for a brand, like an individual brand, usually we'd sort of split it up over 4 weeks in the month, and the first week would be sort of planning, second week would be shooting ideally, third week editing, and then fourth week revising and mapping a plan for the next month. So quite a lot of strategy actually goes in, particularly these days with the whole iOS stuff that's happening. So it's a fairly even split, but in terms of the team, we've got 7 or 8 on the creative side, and then a couple of account managers, and then assistant and like sales guy as well. So
awesome. What was the first person that you hired? What was their position?
yeah, so he was sort of, I put an Instagram story up, and I was like, I need someone to help, with workload in it. And I got a big kick out of helping another creative, because I look back at me at 17, just looking for an opportunity. And that was kind of what I was trying to create for someone. And his name is Danny. Hopefully he's tuning in here and having a listen. And he came on board and literally worked in my dining room table for the first few days until we rented the apartment downstairs to sort of have a makeshift studio. And he was on the creative side. So he was fairly new to the video side, and I just taught him the ropes, and we went from there. At the time, we had probably two clients on the creative side.
Got it. Just a couple more questions about your agency specifically, and then we'll get into some other stuff specifically on, I really want to know how you guys are doing with iOS 14. But before that, I guess, there's a lot of creatives in the group, and they all want to know a certain amount of things. And I know you did it pretty fast, man. You reached 13 employees pretty quickly. And it's something that a lot of people in the group can envy for sure. I guess, what was the key, like the balance? What was the key to scaling that quickly, I guess?
It's a really good question, because, I think having the mindset of being really willing to learn quickly and fail fast, and then be able to learn and develop from that. Because for me, a big part of the reason I'm pushing this is because I just want to level up as a person, as a leader, and in my capacity, because I know that just opens so many doors as well, and it creates opportunities for people and for me. So being really, really in line with that and why you're doing what you're doing, I think helps a lot. But it's a total whirlwind, man. I feel like I reinvent myself every month or every 3 months. And, sometimes you got to build the plane as you're flying. And I feel like we've definitely been doing that a little bit. So no real key to success, but obviously having a pipeline full of leads, that's a huge part of it. And I do feel we're fortunate in the space we're in, because creative is something that you can quite easily get your foot in the door with. Whereas if you're running media, you got to, you're battling against hundreds of other people saying, I can run ads better than anyone else. And then it's that real power play. But with content, you just put a video in front of them and say, hey, this is what we do. And people can very quickly make a decision where they're going to speak further. So that's been a really powerful part, just naturally being in the creative scene.
So if anyone doesn't know what spec work is pretty much reaching out to companies and creating something for them. I just ran into someone, I was in Florida with everyone, and we ran into someone making spec work for Chanel, and we were like, dang, they're like out there just filming, grinding. Have you done any spec work like that? Have you ever sent anything to brands and see what they would say back?
Yeah, for sure. I think naturally, because I was sort of freelancing in the space before, I had a bit of a portfolio built up. But yeah, when you start, it's you really need to do some stuff for free. And then I guess what happened was, when transitioned from like trying to run ads for people to actually just doing creative, I didn't technically have many content examples that were like for products. And I just winged it, and I just was confident, and pitched this brand on like 8,000 Aussie a month for a crazy number of videos, 20 videos, something like that a month. And they there was a bit of back and forth, and eventually they just jumped at it. And I don't know what it was that I'd portrayed. Maybe it was just because I was authentic, but that was really the belief there. That's, as soon as that happened, I was like, there's something here. And so, I mean, there was a lot that led up to that point, obviously, but that was very grateful for that relationship. We still work with them today. So
Oh, awesome. 100%. That's also something that as a creative you deal with too, is getting that one client to help you kind of reach that plateau, and then just keep going past that. I have a couple friends who kind of dealt with the same thing, and they work their ass off to get that one client. And then once they have them, then they can like, it's just that hard balance of scaling, you know? We have, we spoke with a guy named Jason Schwank, Swank, sorry.
Oh, I think I saw, I didn't listen, but I saw
see
that.
the interview. Yeah, he's great at scaling. He has a lot of really good tips. And that's pretty much what he was saying was, it's all about scaling, but
yeah.
Okay, cool. And so is there a specific niche that you work towards for creatives?
We're not specific in the sense of like women's fashion or so-and-so. Just direct to consumer e-commerce brands. Some of our brands do sort of have a retail presence as well, but for the most part, they're pretty much solely online. And a lot of them using Facebook and Instagram ads as their sort of primary customer acquisition. But definitely there's room for TikTok and Snapchat and that sort of thing as well. But the bread and butter is Facebook and Instagram, so ad creatives.
Got it. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So kind of tell me about how your company took on the whole new iOS change and kind of what's going on with that.
Yeah, in all honesty, it was kind of a really natural progression because we are just on the creative assets. I guess what happened was just more focused on strategy and how we're placing the content, how we're portraying it, particularly on top of funnel, because what's more important now is really driving that purchase as soon as possible on that first click, you know, if possible. So in terms of being profitable on the front end, it's more important to do that now because there's less buffer on the back end. But not a whole lot did change in all honesty. And I've got a handful of buddies on the media buying side, and, you know, it's just been a total nightmare for them, which I can appreciate. But really for us, it's about looking at, you know, rather than looking at ROAS directly out of Facebook now, you're looking at things like cost per click and click-through rate. And that can really inform the rest of your decisions. And I know I was listening to a couple of podcasts that you guys have put out previously, and a few of the guys were saying similar things around, like, for example, if you're looking at the data and you have a big drop off after the first couple of seconds on your video, it's probably something to do with your hook that you need to improve or switch out or something like that. So we do a lot of work in finding great hooks and, you know, making sure that attention is there and people are stopping and actually watching what you've got to say. And then on the back end, you know, if click-through rates, you know, not there, usually it's something to do with your call to action. So it's about looking at the little measurements and testing that. But at the same time, we do a lot of volume. So I guess that's helped a lot. You know, we sort of usually sit between 6 and 10 videos a month for most of our brands, and test hooks as well. So just heaps of volume, and that really helps to mitigate that sort of effect that you probably get initially, because you can really improve results that way.
And how do you do, so the shoots with your brands, do you have just one shoot day a month and you, like, you know, switch outfits, switch colors, switch all that stuff and do like a shoot for the whole day? Or how does that usually work? Obviously different brands want different stuff, but.
Yeah, so we're pretty big on alignment and working with brands that fit sort of what we do. So we're able to really reproduce the same process most of the time. So typically that'll be a shoot in the studio, you know, with the colored backdrops and the lighting, and you can get pretty funky there. And then a shoot offsite. So whether that's an Airbnb or down at the beach or in the city, we're in a really great location in Perth, really fortunate. So we kind of have access to all of that stuff, and we'll do a shoot in each and, you know, 1 or 2 models in each as well. So we kind of get that diversity. And basically the 6 to 10 videos, whatever it may be, is produced from those 2 shoots. But we go into it with intention, and we know we can shoot different angles, different styles and stuff as well. So it's kind of a combination of being really effective in terms of how much we can come out with, but also, you know, not limiting ourselves either. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with that, and we also do photos at the same time as well. So we're really making the most of those.
Got it. You kind of touched a little bit on tracking your content for your brands, and I don't necessarily, you know, you said that you don't necessarily, you know, go into media buying or anything like that, but do you have any tracking that you do with your videos? Is it internal? Is it, you know, through a platform?
It's pretty simple for us. We have access to ad accounts, and we check in with brands often. and particularly whoever's sort of taking care of their media, because they're going to be in the weeds. They know what's happening more than anyone else. So obviously in the monthly catch-up call and on Slack, we have sort of constant communication. So it's probably more a case of communicating really well with them and pulling out those pieces that we need than it is us personally tracking anything. So again, it's a beautiful time to be in the creative space.
Yeah, 100%. And is there anything, I know you don't like, not everyone likes to give away their secrets. I know Gary Vee is a big proponent of giving away as much value as possible. And you don't have to
I'm pretty happy to share.
Good, man. So my question is, I guess, if there's any like recent tips that have been happening, especially after the iOS change, any recent like little boosts that'll help people out there that they really want to hear, whether it's business owners who have a product, they can relay it to their agency, or for creatives.
Yeah,
something that's maybe working.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is really dialing in the first parts of your videos. And previously what we'd seen is like a lot of people say the first 3 seconds are so important. And whilst that's really true, I would even encourage you to show product within the first frame, product in use, really satisfying shot, because even more so that's capturing the attention of who you need to reach. So those hooks and testing that, there was actually an AdWorld talk, I forget the guy's name, but he had a really interesting method around the 15 by 1 or something, where he just tests 15 different hooks pretty much. And I reckon that's a great sort of strategy. We don't go that far, but so big hook would be the first one. And what we're seeing working is kind of that. It's interesting. You might remember like a year ago, that explainer type video kind of tended to work quite well, where it was like a great hook, introduce your product, problem solution type thing, educate people on your product. You got reviews and social proof, and then a good call to action. So we're seeing that style still work in a more condensed format, which is more like 15 to 25 seconds, somewhere in that range. And as long as you can communicate what you need to communicate in that condensed time without sacrificing, the ability to read and understand what's going on and have all the right messaging, that seems to be working well. So 1 or 2 main value props rather than trying to fit in 6 or 7, if you have that many with your products, and keep it really concise, in that 15 to 25 range. And obviously using vertical formats more than any others.
Got it. Did you see what the guy from Instagram said the other day? I think it was like yesterday or a few days ago, about where they're going.
Something about video only. Is that right?
They're going to try to get rid of their images somehow. No, I'm not sure how. Yeah, they said they're going to go towards shopping, try to be more like TikTok, go towards shopping, e-commerce and stuff like that.
I could see them really trying to compete with TikTok and maybe some more value for people watching who don't realize Reels are just getting crazy reach, Instagram Reels. And the reason really is because they're losing people to TikTok, right? So they want people to stay on their platform. They're like, hey, we're going to give people a reason to stay. We're going to blow up the videos. And like, I've got a few buddies who, one of them, hey, Jackson, if you're watching this, he basically posted this reel and it blew up overnight. He's got something like 20 million views on it, on a reel. And, he gained 30,000 followers overnight. And that's a very extreme example, but I see a lot of, like my partner as well, she mucks around with TikTok and Reels, and she's sort of grown 20,000 followers in a few weeks on her Instagram page. So Reels are, for a business, I would fully encourage, like, especially if you're starting and you don't necessarily have budget to go in and pay for more content, create really organic style TikToks and trends, and then repost those on Reels or vice versa. A great way to get started.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's coming up. It's before that. It's not just getting your phone and recording something either. I think it's a lot of it has to do with production value. And you see people doing that selfie thing all the time, but like the eye-catching thing is production value, I think, for the first like 3 to 6 seconds. And then if you can come up with strategy to make it consistent, there's no way you can like not grow from that. So one of our big media buyers. We had an interview with him. His name's Rishi. We had an interview with him like 4 to 6 months ago.
I think I might have listened in the other
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
Rishi Shiva.
Hey, man.
What's up, Rishi? He said Luke got his summer glow. I don't. I mean, I live in.
You're
We
looking
both
good,
live.
man.
Thanks, bro. I think it's probably the camera. I bought this camera that has this effect on it that makes you look beautiful. So,
I love
thank you,
that.
Rishi. Hey, so he asked, how do you balance brand's voice versus what works in social media?
Oh, this is a good one because this is something that we've had a few big learning curves with recently with a couple of brands that potentially we weren't super clear on expectations from the start, and they felt a lot more attention needed to go on their voice and branding elements and things like that. And initially, we had to refine a few things, and it was really interesting. Once we were able to do that, the content performed really well. So it was kind of taking the approach of like high converting principles, the great hook, the right USPs, and the ad format, and then getting clear on what parts of their message and voice and branding they want to be included in that, and obviously using the right fonts and spacing and things like that, colors and feel and tone. So it was kind of a combination of the two of them, but what we found was it is a fine line. We're always sort of struggling with that a little bit. It's more about the expectations of the brand and what they want to portray. And in copy as well, it's hard when the brand provides copy, because we do a lot of that in-house as well, but they have like certain way of wanting to say something. And then it's just too lengthy or long. It just doesn't fit in the video. So we need to be able to refine that in a way, ideally no more than 4 or 5 words on screen at one time. And ideally the video with no text, no sound, you can still understand what's going on. So it is a fine line, Rishi, and it's something where we're always improving on to this day, but just taking as many elements as possible, refining that messaging and trying to fit that into, those short videos at the same time. Happy to share a few examples and stuff if you like after this as well.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. If there's anything specific you want to share to everyone that we talk about, just send me those, send me it through
Cool.
email or whatever. Thanks, Rishi. So if you guys have any questions, please just go into the Facebook and comment. That would be awesome. So in saying that, I have a comment or a question. Who are some of the, so as creatives, we're always looking, the grass always seems greener on the other side of the fence. And so we're constantly learning, constantly looking at new gear. I have so much gear in my cart on Amazon. It's ridiculous. Constantly trying to refine our skills and everything like that. And there's always people who we look up to. And I have several that I look up to try to emulate. But who are some of the people that you read, listen to podcasts, study? Who are some of those people?
That's a good question. In this space, there's a couple of guys floating around ad leaks. The notable guys that you would all know: Chandler, Nick Shack, like Chase Diamond as well, even though he's not creative. Some of those guys are doing some cool things, and I was definitely been motivated by what they're doing over the previous couple of years. But in a broader sense, a number of, I'm inspired by the team daily, the sort of stuff they're putting out and getting creative with. That's pretty cool to see. And then like with podcasts and stuff, I listen to a lot of like e-com related. So Founder, 2X e-commerce, e-com fuel. I've started listening to you guys. I sort of hadn't really paid much attention, but jumped into that. So just learning from people who've either done it before or done similar things. And then on the flip side, there's almost that point where you can just learn from someone in a totally different industry. And I really enjoyed Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. That was just a perspective shift. I don't know if you listened to that one, but
No.
And what I enjoyed about that was it wasn't specific. Usually I'm like, what can I learn about business? What can I learn about self-development? But this one was like just perspective and life, and it was just different, and I could just sit back and take it in. So that was cool. And then just audio books. Yeah, sorry, go.
Can you do an impression of Matthew McConaughey?
Nah, not at all. I'm not even gonna try. I'd ruin
All
it.
right.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, he's a legend, dude. I have a man crush on
He
him.
is, man. He is.
And then the couple of others, like the classic Start With Why, Atomic Habits, that sort of thing, listening to those again in audiobooks as well.
Yeah.
Actually, one great one for people in the agency space is Built to Sell. Really practical story on how to just build a business that is sellable, has value. Even if you're not going to sell it, it's just a great way to set it up.
Got it. Built to Sell.
Yeah.
I should be writing these down, shouldn't I?
That's right. We can rewatch.
Okay. So awesome, man. Appreciate that. Again, if you guys have any questions in the comment section, please feel free to comment. Let me know if you want to know anything from Jai.
Yeah, I should pull up the live. Hey, have a look.
So yeah, there's not much. Yeah, Mario and Ethan, but yeah. So who's your dream client? Someone that you would absolutely love to work for?
Yeah, there is one that comes to mind. I'm not wearing the shoes now, but I really admire Cariuma and what they've done. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they basically come into an industry against Nike, Adidas, all of those big players, come in from more of a sustainable aspect, I should say.
How do you spell it?
So like Cariuma. And I've got 4 or 5 pairs of their shoes, and I rarely buy stuff online, which is really, really funny and probably ironic, but I don't often. No, that's not true. I do now, but I never used to. And these guys, there was something there that just hooked me in. I trusted them. I love what they were doing. There was something about their voice and story. And I probably wouldn't buy another pair of shoes now. But I really admire, they're 3 or 4 years old, and we've got one of the most impressive pro surf team and skate teams, with their brand, competing against Nike, Adidas, all of that. So
really,
yeah,
I don't know why I've never heard of them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Until you know them, so that you know them, you don't, I suppose.
You're hearing it here first, guy. Buy stock in Cariuma.
Yeah.
No, it looks like they're super simplistic. They have something for people who like low tops, high tops. They kind of look like a little bit like Converse, but they look like maybe a little athletic. That's awesome.
Yeah,
really cool.
So I've got the ones I wear. I get the comment all the time, like, are they Converse? But they're sort of, I guess I've always been a fan of brands that aren't like the typical brands. So it's kind of, I get a kick out of, no, these aren't Converse.
Because it's not cool anymore. You want to try to be as cool as possible, don't you, Jack?
Yeah.
That's the goal. I'm literally going to buy one.
Let them know I sent you.
Yeah, right. You get a little discount. So we got Cameron Potts on the line. He's asking, are you know Cameron?
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine.
Oh, there you go. Are you working on anything other than the agency?
Good question. Fitting coming from him, we're actually working on a brand at the moment outside of the agency space. It was sort of something that we, for me and him as well, because I know what he does, obviously, sort of wanted to focus on one thing until it was sort of at a point where there was a team, there was systems, there was things that were, and that was, a big thing at the start, just making sure we had one focus until we got to a point that we could eventually branch out and work on other projects. So it's just sort of starting to get to that point now. So we are working on a e-commerce brand, and what's really cool about that is we're going to be able to get such first-hand experience in the industry that we're in, and be able to test so much more stuff that we probably couldn't test with client accounts. So pretty pumped for that.
Got it. Cool, man. Is it like
I've got it as well if just whenever, but I put a post up before this and asked around if people had questions. I got a bunch.
I saw that.
So.
I actually saw that. Did you just create that picture right before you posted it? That picture's amazing.
We took that the other week. Yeah, we had some team photos. I was like, oh, it worked well.
That's awesome. You have a cyc wall at your studio?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got the cyc wall.
Cool. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I've got, I could even link you as well if you want to have a look, but I put it up on LinkedIn. There's a few on there. A few people were sort of asking around UGC, like polished videos versus UGC, what's more effective, and what makes a strong UGC. And I know we speak about like production value to some extent, and there's definitely that's a common question. So I'm happy to dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So the polished versus UGC, I guess it really depends on the purpose that you're going for with your content. And there's a place for both, for sure. You can get really far with just UGC and the right media buying, for sure, like a lot of brands do. I feel like there gets a point where, sorry, I'm just going to mute and cough 1 sec. I feel like there's a point where when you're at a considerable amount of scale, and a meaningful amount of scale, I should say, and you're wanting to really build that brand feel and message. We have a few brands who are sort of at that point now, and what they found is when they scale, the more, I say more polished, but well shot with the right messaging, still conversion focused. It seems to hold stronger as you scale, so you could spend more with less fatigue, which is really powerful for scale, but also for creating a brand that people are like, see an ad and they're like, oh, that's that brand, and that's kind of the point everyone wants to be at, right? Like you don't get that from just running hundreds of UGC. People don't look at that and be like, oh, that's, except maybe Lumen Skin or some of those guys, because they have a very distinct style of UGC. But there's definitely a place for both. And I think on more of a starting out side, the UGC is probably really, really impactful. And then as you build using UGC, but more so in that retargeting level, and to build trust, and then being able to scale with the right messaging. So a combination of both, I would say, on that one.
Got it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know who Molly Pittman is. I listened to a conference she had the other day. And she was saying that UGC it was really fast and grew really quickly, and it was just kind of oversaturated a little bit. And now she's starting to see a little bit of a trend away from it. Because you have those companies called, like Billo or whatever, where you can just send your product in, they pay you, you pay them $200 and they send you like a bunch of different people talking about it.
Yeah, it's like it's $60 a video or something crazy.
Yeah. Do you consider that cheating?
Well, knowing what they do, sort of like if you're a brand going in, you still need to provide scripts and organize everyone and find the right talent. So it's still quite on you. So it's kind of, a bit different to someone who would create UGC, but do it all A to Z. So yes and no. I mean, there's a place for both, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a few different models that they do. You can like send it in, and they either can review it and say, hey, I tried this, or they can say like, they can do like a package opening or whatever. But it was interesting when I saw it, really interesting. But yeah, Molly was saying that trends are going away from UGC in a more like selfie style. Obviously if you do one with more higher production, it's good too, but interesting little seminar she gave.
We're seeing a few in terms of UGC. We would still probably consider it UGC, especially if it's a visual product like neon signs. We sort of I had one behind me, but it's not on right now. And it was like what crushed it was just sort of showing it in a room and walking towards it slowly and just talking over the top and just, saying, this is the only brand I trust, and it lasts for 50,000 hours, and check out this quality. As you get closer, you can really see that. So it was kind of the UGC, but no face was needed. It was just very visual on the product. And similar sort of thing if you were unboxing a product or doing a routine, I guess works well too.
Yeah, it's just again, that's why you hire creative too, is to think about this kind of stuff and also put their creative spin on it. I think it's always going to shine through as having custom created content. So Sergey, sorry. Oh, by the way, did you guys watch the Euro Cup?
I did not.
No. Gotta get on that, man. England.
What's happening over there?
Oh, I don't know if anyone recorded it. I probably shouldn't have said that. But somebody, one of the two teams won, which is Either England or Denmark, I won't say.
I'm pretty sure their game would be played at like 2 a.m. our time or something.
Yeah, that's true. It was on like, what is it? It was on like 4.5 hours ago. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, you would have
3
been
a.m. Yeah.
asleep, getting your beauty rest. All right. So Sergey asked, and we got a little more time here. Sergey asked, what is your minimal recommendations to start established offline supplement brand to
Go online.
start online? Yeah.
Supplements. That's pretty cutthroat. A lot of probably need a bit of money. What we're seeing is a lot of people, particularly if I assume it's a subscription type thing, so you have that lifetime value. Be prepared to break even on the front end. If you're profitable, great. But a lot of people, CPAs are just rising. Some sup brands, used to pay $20, $30, $40 for a initial purchase. And now they're okay spending 80, 90, 100 in some cases because they know they can make that money on the back end. So have really epic email marketing flows, build a great sort of organic community as well, would be my advice. And then because subs are a lot of people in this space, right? I would really try to think about your messaging and how you can be different in that sense. And it sounds like you have an established sort of presence already in retail. So maybe leveraging some of that, using stats like, we're in 50,000 homes or, whatever that sort of looks like as well. And ultimately results speaks true, more than anything else. So if it's, hair related subs or health related subs or weight loss, or you need to be careful about how you frame that. You can't say, hey, this is going to, you lose weight in 10 days. Like that sort of bold health claims you can't do.
He said it's a hair supplement.
Yeah. Okay. But showing authentic sort of transformations without the before after photo, because you can't do that either. But just that progression, because people see, if it's a UGC, for example, and it's just some dude or woman just saying, hey, my hair's so luscious, it's been 2 weeks. People don't really believe that until they could see it. So if it's almost I would try to line up some people who need your product and say, hey, can we just film your journey over the next 4-8 weeks, whatever the time is. And it sounds like a bit of time, 2 months until you get this right content. But once you have that, it's going to be so much more powerful, and allowing you, because you could see that really natural progression, and that's going to show proof more than anything else. And then I'll really iterate on the website a lot as well. We sort of work with a brand who are in the skincare space, and they have like silk pillowcases and stuff, and it helps a lot with antibacterial and hair and stuff like that. And they've reiterated their website 40 or 50 times, and their conversion rate's just gone from 1%, 2%, 6, 7%, now 8%. And that's going to make a huge difference for you as well, because the more you can increase that, it's not just creative that you need to be thinking about. It's actually the whole ecosystem, and there's obviously some media buying strategies that come into that. But as a base rule, you need to get people to trust what you're selling, and leverage those reviews, leverage that you do see if you can get some, and then just really have a brand presence that displays trust and doesn't look like just another supplement brand.
Cool. Yeah. I have something to add to that, but we have, I think, 2 more questions, and we'll probably get through just those 2, and then we'll see if we have time after. But again, Molly Pittman was saying she has a hair supplement brand that she's working with for like women with silver hair, so older women. Cool. And she tells people that you should sell the outcome and not the benefit. She's instead of saying like our product is the best product, these are the ingredients, this is what it does to you, you should buy it. It's a UGC of a woman saying, hey, my husband hasn't looked at me the same in the last 10 years until I started using this brand. And that kind of stuff makes me want to cry, because it's like you're actually telling people's stories, and that's why we're in creatives in the beginning, is to tell people's stories, right? Not necessarily for products, but it's something that I'm definitely passionate about. And so it makes the job a lot better, a lot more fulfilling, and a lot easier, to be honest, when you sell the outcome rather than the benefit.
And people get caught up in that to benefit and features, saying this has this ingredient and this in it. Inherently, people don't care. I mean, there's an element to that. They want to know it's natural or whatever, but people don't actually care what what it is. They care about how it's going to actually improve their life or help them. So I really like that example you just gave.
It's Tony Robbins' neurolinguistic programming. It's programming into your buyer's brains a story and a picture so they can actually picture themselves using your product. It's
totally.
It's a great selling tactic for sure. Sergey is so thankful. So I just want to show you that love. Man. Okay, so someone's starting a fitness clothing brand. Do you think his fitness clothing brand in 2020 is a hard space as there's so much competition?
Yep. Short answer. Yep. If it's apparel, it's going to be maybe similar to SUPs as well. And it would depend on what the product is, because if you have some great USPs, if for example it's those booty shaping leggings, you can probably leverage some more selling points which can help. And what sort of products are they? Just while we're here, because apparel is typically hard, lower return, but at the same time, it's, if you're in it for the long term, it could be something just to build over time. And if you're not in it for the quick cash and it's more of a passion project, that's always going to be driving you. So
yeah, James, if you can let us know what kind of fitness apparel is on there real quick, if you're still listening, that would be great. While we're waiting on his thread, is there any not necessarily ones that have been working, but like ideas that you would, female leggings. Yeah. Sorry, female leggings.
So maybe probably a similar thing to what I said. I would try to go custom with designs, get some real funky stuff that people haven't seen before. That'd be your biggest way to leverage and sort of stand out. And then think about it because female leggings, like you say, they're everywhere, right? Really trying to think about your messaging and like, how are we actually different? And more than just like, we donate 10% of profits to this charity and, we have all of these sizes. I'd probably be pretty inclusive in terms of sizing and different, like the people use in shoots and stuff, because that's going to shine through just that authenticity. And then, just messaging wise, trying to think of a way to be different. I guess to use the example before of Cariuma that we spoke about, they broke into a age-old industry against Nike and Adidas. If you weren't listening there, James, I think Cariuma, Cariuma, really love what they're doing in the shoe space, and they've really broken into an industry within 3 years, and they're competing against the big dogs. So maybe scope them out and see how they've really refine their messaging to do so.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, James. Hopefully that helped. We'll go on to the next question, which is from Spencer. And we have about 15 minutes left, so we'll go through these. Spencer Smith, he said, what are some creative ways you implement before afters in your content to avoid issues with Facebook?
Good question.
Do you want to know, like, maybe tell us, like, what space are you specifically looking at, Spencer? But
yeah,
I mean, you can answer.
Reality is, like, sometimes you don't want to like risk putting your ad account at risk, or whatever that case is. What I would encourage is doing a lot of organic style before afters, because you can share that organically, and then potentially leveraging elements of that, really utilize it on your website. And what we're seeing is, if you can maybe go more of another example with that, another brand of ours, they went more of a hype factor, where it was like the founder story. These founders created this product and it sold out in minutes, or whatever that sort of hype is. It's like a news article. It doesn't actually explain the product very well at all. And this was another skincare one. It doesn't give much context to the product, but what it does do is drive clicks, and people go to the website and they're interested, right? They're just curious. On the website, you can slam before afters as much as you want, right? It's your website. You could frame that however you want, reviews, everything. So they're leveraging it that way with a great conversion rate on the website. So you get cheaper clicks and you're still converting them. I would probably encourage you to maybe swing that way a little bit. You can have elements of it in the ads, but if it's very clear before afters, I'd try to stay away from that.
In the oral care niche.
Oral care. Yeah, okay. like teeth whitening or something like that, I assume. Um, Probably less of the split screen before after and more of the like High Smile do a great job. I'm sure you're aware of those, but I mean, High Smile wouldn't be running an ad that doesn't work, or a style that doesn't work. They would have tested so extensively. So I'd be sort of leveraging those sort of structures, what they're doing, and seeing if you can replicate that. ASMR seems to be working a bit in that space as well. So I'd play around with that.
Like opening his package and stuff.
Yeah, and just actually gross like squirting sounds when you're putting gel in your teeth and then the teeth whitener in.
Yes. And what do you think about people watching these ads who have audio or don't? What's your position on that?
I would always like if it's anything with speaking voiceover, have subtitles because 70-80% of people will be listening with no sound. I always advise to create videos that can be watched and understood with no text and no audio, if possible. So give context in your shots. For example, if it's a product that's waterproof, don't just say it's waterproof, drop it in a bowl of water and say it's waterproof. Because then if there was no text or no sound, people would still understand what it is. So yeah, give context to your shots themselves and have subtitles and text on screen for any sort of voiceover as well.
I love that. That's a great tip, guys. Turn the sound off on all your ads and see if people understand it.
Yeah.
Oh, these are coming in quick, bro. We got some people asking some stuff. This is from Alex Steele, one of our good members.
Hey, Alex.
How do you analyze the performance of the different sections of your videos in order to know which sections to swap out?
I sort of touched on this maybe a little bit earlier, but I'd be looking at metrics like the 3-second view, cost per click, click-through rate. If it's the 3-second view, if people are dropping off after that, 80-90% of people, something to do with your hook. You need to dial that in. You need to have more context. You need to have more colors or contrast or movement to really get people engaged. And if it's the click-through rates that's lagging, like low click-through rates under 1% or whatever it is, I know every industry is so different. I'd be looking at a stronger call to action, or even having a call to action earlier in the video. Sort of what we're doing in some cases is, say it's a certain shop now, having that sort of earlier, a little button flicker up and then come back again at the end because you can push people through earlier, especially people who aren't watching the whole video, even though the videos are quite short. So I would break it up that way. And the reality is it's most likely your hook in most cases. So the other thing that people get caught up in, like I mentioned, is too many features, feature. Think more about the outcome that people want and focus on that, and condense your messaging down. No longer trying to have really slow, long form videos for 50 seconds. Condense it down, get the messaging early.
Cool. Let's see. So that's about it. And this is for ads. Have you done any landing page videos?
We have sort of not as much obviously as ads. That's more of a depends on the is this for like a funnel or just website? Maybe we can
Yeah,
answer that question,
I'm thinking for like a funnel, because Molly Pittman went over a bunch of things for that. I keep mentioning her. But.
Yeah, like a VSL. Like, is this for?
Like a funnel type thing for a product.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of that, but I'd imagine a lot of the similar principles come into play in terms of, like, you wouldn't do a 15-second video, but in terms of the structure of those and how you portray each of those things. So I'm probably not the best person to speak on that, but I'd try to look at some similar principles and capture that, keep people engaged.
I think that a lot of people do different lengths of ads as well, even on Facebook, not just necessarily on landing pages, and they use some of them for their landing page. What are kind of your favorite length? You said was 15 to 25 seconds. Do you do anything longer than that?
We do at times when it's a product that needs a bit more explaining. It's too hard to condense down in that time, because we don't want to sacrifice people just watching and it's just being a bunch of words and mess that they just don't understand. So we do. And we also have a couple of brands that when they came to us, they have previous winning creatives that are like long form, sort of 1 or 2 minutes, which are sort of that just slow explainer style. The reason they're winning is because they've been running it for 2 years and the engagement's just stacked up and it still performs, but not so much now. And on the flip side, shorter videos for sure. Like, yeah, shorter videos, even more of those, because even GIFs or boomerangs or really intentional sort of loops as well, they're great, because if you're looping a video, someone's not going to realize they got to the end of it and they're going to watch again. And that's a great metric for telling Facebook that this person's really engaged in your ad. So that'll actually be a great way to sort of improve performance in some ways.
Yeah, that looping thing is really popular, especially on TikTok. That one chef dude who actually made it onto like Netflix. He's a TikTok famous guy, and he loops the end of all of his videos, and I'll just watch it again. I'll watch it like 4 times because I'm so just enamored by just his style and how creative he is and how he comes up with new things in the cooking space.
Do you like cooking? I just like
I love cooking. I got all the Japanese knives. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all about it. I actually have a couple cooking. I started a cooking show for myself. It's funny.
Plug it.
I'll have to upload it onto the Facebook.
Yeah, let's go.
It's called Lukey's Faves. Oh man, it's funny.
I'll have a watch.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 8 minutes left. Nick DiGiovanni, exactly, and he made it on TV. He's amazing, and I love his style. I love his videos. He's so engaging and entertaining. Anyways, let's talk about gear, because I know there's a lot of people out there who have products and they don't know exactly what type of gear to buy. So we'll start off with like some beginner level gear that people in here can look at and see if it's too expensive, like a little cheaper stuff to get them started with some products. Right now, my setup, I have a Sony a6600 with a cam link. So I linked it up to my laptop. I got just like a small aperture, makes a great tiny little pocket light that is perfect. And you switch up the Kelvin a little bit too to get the temperatures a little higher and lower.
That's where the tan comes from, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. I got a little yellow on there. This is the best tripod I think I've ever had when it comes to travel tripods. Let me see if they have the logo on here, because I kind of forgot the name. But I will get the name of this tripod and I will link it in, because it's like they have a carbon fiber version and then an aluminum version. And it's awesome for travel stuff. But anyways, sorry, I geek out on gear. So kind of, I guess, talk about what kind of gear that you are into. Are you a Sony guy? Are you a Canon guy?
Yeah, Sony guy.
Sony?
Probably, I just have been from the start. And oh no, that's not true. I had a Canon 600D when I was like 16. But after that, Sony, because especially being more video focused. But I love the setup you have. That's a really sort of straightforward, like a practical setup for this sort of stuff too. I just link thing and I just couldn't connect it. So right now,
you have to finagle with it. I can help you if you want to talk after this. You literally have to finagle with it. There's no software you have to do. Are you on a Sony right now?
7 III. Yeah, A7 III.
A7 III. Okay, so that was the one I have. So I'll send you a YouTube video. You have to do a couple things to make sure the HDMI output is the right setting.
Yeah, I did play with that, but still, like, this screen was just black. I don't know if yours was the same.
No, that happens to me every time I plug it in for the first time in a while. You have to keep finagling it, putting it into different USB ports. I don't know. And it works for me, because I was panicking before I talked to you because mine wasn't in the right port or something like that. But that happens all the time, man. And you just have to YouTube University, right?
Yeah. Well, if people are watching, the other fix that I found was using the Sony Imaging Edge app. Just download the software on your computer, and then you can just tether with a cord straight to the camera, and you don't need the cam link at all. But either way, I think works well.
No, that's definitely great. That's why Sony is so great, because they kind of were the first ones to start that Imaging Edge thing. And you can, like, when I show people video or photo when I'm on set, they're so impressed and they're so happy. So it's pretty cool. So, how important is lighting to you?
In all honesty, lighting is less important than context and messaging and what you're trying to portray. It definitely wasn't our first focus when we started in this industry. We were like, what do we actually need to show first? Then we can figure out lighting. So it would just depend. Like if it's this very product focused in the studio, then lighting becomes more important because you need to be able to show it and show it in the right way, especially for photos too. But I mean, I came from the world of run and gun videography outside, adventure stuff. And so you just don't have the lighting capacity, you just work with what you've got. So less important in that sense, but obviously it makes a big difference in this instance, having the light. Like I probably look like a potato if I didn't have the light right now. So there's definitely places for it. But not the be all and end all. Unless you're asking about like studio lights. In that case, there's definitely, when you buy those kit lights and you just, cheap ass it and
$300.
I would probably advise going up a level from that just because of the longevity of it. It's just not worth maybe using those really low end stuff. So that would be, my only advice there.
I think the key for me when I first started was getting lights that have a bigger diameter because it makes it look so much creamier. So honestly, like sometimes I feel like I would just rather buy like a big sheet and just make my own like large diameter scrim gym or something like that, and then just put like a $300 spotlight behind it. Because I feel like that would have made a lot of my videos in the beginning look a lot better than like the newer or whatever, the super cheap light that I bought.
Yeah, that's what I started with.
Yeah. So that's a huge tip for creators to make stuff look. The reason why, like you see all these, because a lot of these people are creating their own content, they're going to start creating content. So I want to just, and I have a course that I have on our AdLeaks Vault where I go over kind of lighting and how to make it look better. But that's what I would say is one of the things that made my video stand out more is that large diameter light that you have. I'm not sure what you have right now, but I do not have a large diameter light right now. It's pretty tiny. So
it still looks pretty good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Must just be you though. Yeah, I've got a won't be able to put cords plugged in, so I can't turn my screen around, but I've got a Godox VL300W static light. They're actually statics that we use in the studio. We have a few of them.
Got it.
And I just brought it home for this. And then just like you say, just big ass softbox is the bigger the better.
The bigger the better for people's faces and shadows, and depends on what you're doing. But that's one of the
effect.
That's one of the biggest tips, because a lot of people don't know. They buy a light and then it looks like crappy. They have a big shine on their forehead. Having a big diameter will get rid of all that. And so cool. It's good to know that you're Sony. One of the awesome company, we got to go pretty soon, but an awesome company that I have started buying into is Nanlite. Have you heard of Nanlite?
I have, yep. We don't have any gear though.
So I started with Aperture, and I know Godox is awesome too, but I started with Aperture for a lot of this content creation stuff, and they have a great 300 and 200, and Nanlite makes the same stuff with a similar power, but it's cheaper. And they also make a bunch of like,
they've got I'm pretty sure it's Nanlite. We're looking to get some like RGB LEDs and stuff, like pretty powerful ones, and I think it was Nanlite that do those.
Are you looking at getting tube lights or like spotlights?
They were actually panel lights, so like LED panels. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. They make some really good ones like that. My new favorite thing is tube lights. I know Quasar Technologies made the kind of got into the game with tube lights, but Nanlite makes an awesome tube light for like $250, and it's RGB, and you can like magnet it to anywhere. It looks really cool.
Grab a link. A couple of our guys, they do like music videos and stuff, so they've got the RGB kind of lights like that. But I'd be keen to check that out.
Cool. All right. Well, we don't have much time. I guess if there's anything else like you want to add or plug or whatever, Jai, take the floor, and then we'll take off.
Yeah, man. I mean, the last sort of thing I'd love to touch on is just I like to think, life advice to live by, but it's about just being curious and being observant, and everything I've, managed to sort of get through to this point has been as a result of that, just being curious and genuinely just noticing things that other people don't notice. And I reckon it holds really true to content as well, because the more you pay attention, the more you understand. And being curious is just the lifeline to getting anywhere, in my opinion. So I'd encourage people to observe more.
That's huge, guys. Curious George. Be Curious George.
I love that show.
And get Matthew McConaughey's book.
Yeah, Green Lights.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd say he's a pretty curious dude.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, we'll still, be going on this thread and everything like that. If you have any questions, please contact us at AdLeaks. And where can we find you, Jai?
Pretty much on every social, either jai.journeys, that's jai.journeys, on like Instagram and TikTok. Don't look at the TikTok, but Instagram. And then Jai Howitt, which is my last name, Howitt, on LinkedIn, Twitter. I'd love people to go follow me on Twitter. I literally just started on there. I've got 2 followers, so it's looking a bit sad at the moment. But
heck yeah, get on there. Everyone get on there.
That's me.
And then what is your agency called?
Brand Boostr with no E, Boostr. And we're pretty low key. Like, you probably won't even find it if you Google it, which is kind of funny. But you can find us on socials. On Instagram's probably the main place, and then website brand-boostr.com. Awesome,
cool. All right, Jai, we really appreciate it. I know we didn't get into anything personal, but I live in Dana Point, California, and I actually surfed this morning. We need to. You and Jack Paxton are both Aussies who surf, so I need to go down there and have a couple sessions with you guys.
Yeah, dude. Have you been out Australia way before? Or?
I've never been. No,
never. I grew up kind of between Perth and the Cocos Islands, which is off the coast of WA. I'll send you a few photos after this. It's surf wise is a bit of fun, but just the place in general is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely would need some tips on where to go. It's kind of far away from America.
Yeah. I've been trying to get to these, like Geek Out, for example. I've been trying to get over for that, but it's just such a mission, especially these days.
Yeah. Does your toilet bowl flow counterclockwise?
I think it's clockwise. I don't know. I'll have a look after this.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, and hope you have an awesome weekend.
Yeah, man. You too. Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
100%. We'll talk to you.